Hey everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day. This video is going to be about trail magic. Okay, so one wonderful thing to look forward to on the trail, whether you're doing the Appalachian Trail, PCT, CDT, or any other trail, long distance trail, is trail magic. And I wanted to discuss what it is, what it's all about, my experience with it, and how it affected me and my thru hike in 2018. So first of all, trail magic, what it is. Trail magic is anything that is given to a hiker just out of the kindness of your heart, and that could be a shuttle ride or a ride, a hitch. It could be some food. It could be a piece of advice. It could even be a hug if you need it. It could be anything that someone has to offer a hiker, and not expecting anything in return or back. So it's super nice. It's absolutely so kind, and so much so I wanted to do a whole video on it because I was truly touched. It's just, my heart was just so big with so much some trail magic experiences that I had while I was on the Appalachian Trail in 2018. And for me, I think trail magic and trail angels, so the person that is providing the trail magic is called a trail angel. And there was just so many instances out there that were profound for me that I'll never forget. And so I wanted to talk to you about that because if you're considering being a trail angel, some things to keep in mind of, I thought if I share my experience that you can kind of have an idea of the impact you can have on other people, and or some ideas of what to do. So I'm gonna just go into a few things, a few times that I had trail magic given to me. So the very first day, as soon as I got to Springer Mountain and I got to the sign where you start your whole trek, a guy came walking up with a cooler and offered all the thru hikers a drink. So that was my first experience with trail magic, and I thought that was really nice and kind, and he was so full of energy. It really got the trip off to a great start. So that was nice. Along the way, along the trail, there would be coolers that were set up with lots of drinks in them or snacks. At one point there was a box with a whole bunch of bags of chips in them. One time there was a box with some sandwiches in there for different hikers, and boy, those are so helpful. When those surprises, you come around a corner and you see that stuff and you're able to get a snack or a drink, it is really, it feels like Christmas. But some other trail magic that I received, first of all, Fresh Ground is out there, and he is out there to serve and help the hikers at no cost to them. He has a big white van. I did a whole video on him, so check that video out. And but he is one of the most prominent or biggest trail angels out there. There's so many out there, but he's a big one. He goes out there and he cooks a lot of food for hikers, and that's been great. I had one of my main experiences with a trail angel was when I just got to Irwin. I was hiking and the weather was pretty rough. It was snowing a lot, but there was supposed to be yet another huge snowstorm coming, and this was supposed to be a bad one. And I just got to a trail crossing, to a road crossing, and a gentleman came up to me. It's kind of a long story. There was a hiker that night that I stayed in a shelter because the snow was too high to camp, and so I ended up staying in a shelter. And there was a day hiker, a local that was there, and he was making me extremely uncomfortable by what he was saying and how he was acting. So I was in a hurry to get out of that area and that situation. So I was trying to hike fast And I also knew that the weather was going to be turning pretty bad soon. I ended up getting to a road crossing, and this gentleman pulls up in a minivan. His name was Eric. And he came out and wanted to talk to me about my experience. He's like, "Are you a thru hiker? How are things going? And how's your journey been?" And just wanted to have a conversation with me. And I started talking to him and telling him that, you know, I'm having a good time, but I'm kind of in a rough situation at the moment. And actually quite afraid because this hiker is making me uncomfortable that was behind me, and I was anxious to get out of that area before that hiker caught up with me. He noticed and saw how nervous I was, and he, boy, this it just touches my heart. I can't believe that this happened. He was a retired police officer, and he showed me his badge so that I would be comfortable, and he offered he saw how nervous and uncomfortable I was, and he pulled out his badge to prove that he was a retired police officer, and he offered for me to stay with him and his wife at his home for the next 2 days while the weather was awful. I accepted his offer, and he was so nice and so kind to me. He took me to his home. I met his wonderful wife. She played the piano, and she played this. It was beautiful. She was a really good piano player. And Eric, he was such a nice person. And they opened their home to me and let me stay in their spare bedroom. I was able to get a warm shower because I was freezing cold. He took me to get food. He took me and his wife out to dinner that night and bought my meal. And I got to spend the day with him the next day. He had a whole bunch of errands to run, and I was able to spend the day with him. But the day before, my trekking poles ended up breaking. Long story with that. I had these trekking poles that had these like plastic pieces that you can collapse them down, but because the weather was so cold, they kind of broke and they were unusable. So he took me 45 minutes out of his area to a REI so that I can change my trekking poles out. This guy was just so nice. I can't even tell you. That's all in my book as well, more of the story. But him and his wife were so kind and so nice to me. And I stayed with them for 2 days before he took me back to the same spot where he picked me up, and I continued on my hike. And I just was blown away by the kindness of these people. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do half of what they did for me. But it was just to tell you that it renewed my faith in humanity, and how kind people can be is an understatement. It was just, when I think about my thru hike in 2018, one of the major memories I have is of this instance in this time, and how kind they were. He was a phenomenal person, really nice guy, and he goes and tries to help hikers when he can. I'm not sure to what extent, but he really took me under his wing, and I could not be more appreciative and thankful for everything that he did for me. It really touched me, and I'm so grateful for that. So that was one of the biggest instances of trail magic that I got. Another time was I was further up on the trail. Whew, my hands are freezing cold. It's cold out here, so I have to switch hands. I was in Maine, and I was having a bad day. I was just cranky and tired. I was hot. It was super hot outside, but the bugs were everywhere. The bugs in Maine in the middle of at the end of June is just awful. And I was just not having a pleasant day at all. I'm hiking along and I ended up getting to this gentleman that was waiting for his wife. His wife was day hiking with her and her 2 friends, and he was there to pick her up. And he asked how I'm doing, how are things going? And I said, well, you know, things are going okay, but I'm having kind of a bad day. And he said, okay, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. Here, this will help. And he went to the back of his car and he got me 2 Gatorade bottles and a Snickers bar and gave it to me. And that just turned my whole day around. It was so nice of him to do that, and it just, I guess what I needed to know or feel at that moment was that somebody cared and was just wanting to, that he was just so nice. And I just, that feeling of somebody actually knowing you exist right there at that moment and caring about it was really big for me, especially at that time, and I appreciated it so much. Turned my whole day around and I was good to go from there. But that was really kind of him to do that and take a moment to talk with me. So that is kind of how trail magic works. And there was definitely times, hitching. Yeah, people are so nice when they are able to give you a ride. And I did end up hitching a few times, hitchhiking into a town to resupply. And people were so nice and so kind to be able to do that. One lady offered me directions because I needed to wash my clothes and I also need to resupply at a grocery store. She told me where to go, and I really appreciated all of that. I also, every time I got a hitch, I offered money, and but everybody but one person declined it. They just wanted to help out the hikers, and it was fine for the person that needed the money. No problem there. That's why I offered. But the people that are able to give hikers a ride, that's a huge benefit and help to through hikers, especially when we need to get into a town and resupply or get back onto the trail. So that's a nice way to provide trail magic. But a lot of times it's anything that you are able to offer a hiker, whether it be just sitting there and talking with them for a moment, asking how their experience is, offering them any kind of food, because hikers will eat just about anything and we're always hungry. So any kind of food is so helpful, or drinks, it's really nice. I did end up staying at, this was a nice trail magic story, is I stayed at Mountain Harbor. It was a hostel near 192, I believe, and it was also a snowstorm. There was a lot of snowstorms in 2018, 4 major ones to be exact. But we got there, me and a few other hikers, and we were gonna stay. We stayed overnight and we stayed one day, so like 2 nights stay there. But the first night that we were there, the family that runs that hostel were super nice and very kind, and they cooked up a huge pasta spaghetti dinner for all of us, all the hikers. And there must have been 6 or 7, maybe 8 of us that were there, and we ate every piece of food that they had, and they cooked a lot of food, but like I'm telling you, not one dish was wrapped up and put into the refrigerator for later, because we ate every bite, all of it. And it was nice of them to go out of their way and make such a big dinner for us. It was very kind, and we appreciated it so much. As a side note, that's a really nice hostel. I can't wait to stay there again. And they have a fantastic breakfast. It's $12 for the breakfast, and it is worth every penny, and they really do it up great. They give you a lot of food, so come to the breakfast hungry. And but that is one of my favorite places that I stayed along the trail was Mountain Harbor, and I can't wait to stay there again. So yep, that's how trail magic works. That's how it is. It has a big impact on people, on the hikers. Trust me. Again, it's memories that I will never forget. It's people's kindness that I'll never forget. It's a faith in humanity that I walked away from the trail and had just such a sense that people are kind and want to help you for no other reason but out of the kindness of their hearts. And you don't see that very often. You don't get to experience that in everyday life very often. And when you're out there and you are kind of reduced down as a human in a sense, because you don't have a lot of stuff with you. You don't have a lot of worries because you're just thinking about, what am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? How far am I going to hike today? And you're really reduced down to not as much drama or I guess planning as your typical everyday life. It allows you to focus on different things that do come your way, like trail magic. And trail magic is definitely something that is impactful, very, very much appreciated by the hikers. And if you're thinking about, oh, it's starting to snow. I'm not sure you could see it, but it's snowing. That's why I'm so cold. But that's the first time I've felt been outside when it snowed this winter. If you are thinking about being a trail angel, please do it. Please go out and help the hikers, be a part of their journey, be a part of their experience, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. If you are a trail angel and all that you've done, whether it's give someone a Gatorade or invited them into your home, just seriously, thank you. Thank you so much. It helps us out so much, and we never forget that stuff. Trust me. And if you want to read more about those stories that I've mentioned to go into further detail, check out my book, Running-Thru. It gets more into it. And that'll do it for this video. And go out and consider being a trail angel. All right, everyone, have a great day.